if it feels like a chore, or it feels like it has to do it, or it's expected of him with no sort of appreciation, I feel like that's where the problem is. The problem isn't men paying for shit. I feel like men have been paying for shit since the dawn of time.
I saw him first. He's all mine. You can't have him. No, I saw him first. I saw him first. I saw him first. Now have several seats.
Hi everyone. Hi, welcome to a new episode of I Saw Him First podcast. It's been a while. It's been a while. I've been away for about 3 weeks, if I'm not wrong. Yep. My last podcast was in September 6th. So it has been 3 weeks, but I'm back. I was on a little vacation, so now I'm back to business. As you can tell from the title, today's podcast is going to be a very interesting one. As usual, I got the topic from Reddit. Also an Instagram post that I'm going to put up on my screen right now. If you're not watching on YouTube or Spotify, what are you doing? Because there's a video content to this in case you don't know. But yeah, I'm going to put up the photo of the Instagram post and also the screenshot that I have from Reddit. I'm going to put it up on my screen so that you guys can see it. But anyway, without further ado, let's actually get started with this week's episode. Right. Should men and women have equal financial contributions in a relationship? Do I think they should? No. Do I think it should be equal? No. That's just my straightforward answer. But obviously there's different things to consider, and I'll get into that later in this episode. But straight away my answer is no. So let's start with the Reddit dilemma. This guy wrote in, he's 22 male and he's been seeing this girl 22 female for about a month. They went on 5 dates, which he paid for. So he's paid for all 5 dates. If you know me, you know this is music to my ears. But I also have to say, I don't think I've ever let a guy pay for all 5 dates without contributing in any way. But I will get to that. So he says it's paid for all 5 dates. And then on the 6th date, he bought dessert. Oh, she paid, right. So she paid on the 6th date, but then he bought the dessert afterwards, which means, so I'm guessing she said to him she would pay for the 6th date, right? Because why would you get dessert afterwards? Oh, right, okay. She must have paid for the meal separately before they got dessert. That's what it's sounding like. Because he said she paid for the 6th date and then I bought dessert afterwards. After we get back, she Venmo charges me half of the dinner. Doesn't even exclude the charges for the dessert. And I was like, first of all, what? So she's charging you half of the dessert that you paid 100% for? Nah, that's okay. That's where I draw the line, because that's not the end of it. He said, I'm kind of shocked, a little offended. My friends say that as a guy, I'm expected to pay. I don't like the word expected, first of all. But he said, my friend said, as a guy, I'm expected to pay, but I'm pretty annoyed and I don't really feel like talking to her. I haven't told her anything yet, but should I complete the charge? Money isn't the issue or anything, so I can afford it. there's so many things that are going on in my head right now. I don't even know where to start. But let's start from the first paragraph. He's been paying for 5 dates straight. First of all, we have to applaud this guy, because there's not many in this 50-50, Western culture. There's not many guys that would pay 5 dates straight. So I have to applaud this, because that's why I said I don't like the word expected that was used. He said his friends expect that, his friends said that women expect men to pay. And while that's true, I don't necessarily like the word expect. I appreciate when the man covers the charges for most of the dates. And I'm going to use the word most. So I said earlier, do I think men and women should contribute equally financially to the relationship? And my answer is no. And like I just stated, it's because I think personally, for reasons that I would say later on, I have a list. I think that men should try to contribute more. I don't think they're expected to. I don't think they must, or they should, or they have to. I think they should try to contribute more. So first of all, paying for the first 5 dates, great. I'm totally on his side already. And then she opted to pay for the second date, for the 6th date. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe she's felt bad. Maybe she felt like, our friends, sometimes your friends are probably telling you, contribute or whatever. Or maybe she just wanted to, in a way, just do something, right? Just do something for him. He's been paying for 5 dates. She must be feeling guilty. And then she thought to herself, let me pay for the date and just Venmo him half of it later. First of all, you should have just said that at the dinner table. You should have gone halves, like a lot of guys do. So why would you opt to pay? Did she change her mind? I don't know. I think that's really confusing to me. Did she change her mind? Did she decide to pay and then maybe she doesn't want to see him anymore? I think that's something that you might want to consider. Maybe, yeah, because maybe she doesn't want to see him anymore and she changed her mind. That's why she's sending him half the bill. But even still, that's just petty. That's just too petty, because this guy's paid for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a lot. Come on now. That's a lot for you to not feel bad. Even as much as I like free things. Everyone that knows me, let me adjust my mic. Everyone that knows me knows that I like free things. I love being taken out to eat for free. But after the 5th date, come on, even I start to feel guilty, and if I start to feel guilty, then you should too. So I think she might have been trying to make a contribution, but where she went completely wrong was paying half. If you're trying to take up the bill for the 6th date, you don't pay half, you pay all of it. Honestly, that's the ick for me with guys that split the bill. It's not just the splitting the bill. It's not just the money. It's the act of let's cut it in half. It's just it's an ick. I don't like it. I would rather you say, I'm gonna take this one and then you get the next one. I prefer that. Sometimes it's not the fact that they're paying for it. It's just a gesture. You go out to eat, the waiter comes, and oh my god, I have a story for you guys. I said this to someone I went out with very recently. The date was going so well. I was actually having so much fun until the waiter came. We only got drinks. Total of these drinks, not up to, I would say maybe just over £40. Less than 45 for sure. And then the waiter came and I was like, oh, how do you want to, pay? And then this guy looked at me, I looked at him, and then he went half. So I was like, oh, it was going so well. Good while it lasted. Because in my head, in that moment, I was like, oh, I'm never seeing you again. Because for me, the first date, it's a rule. It's a hard rule for me. I do not negotiate. Again, I'll tell you why I don't think women should contribute financially equally to a relationship. But yeah, like I said, this date was going well until he decided to split the bill. You know what? It would have been a different story if he went, how get this one, you get the next one. I would still be like, but I would still definitely give him a second date, because again, it's the gesture is like, you know, I'm coming out to see you, you asked me out. I don't know, it rubs me off the wrong way. And I told him, yeah, I know most of you are gonna be like, what? So this guy texted me the next day asking for another date, and I said no, and I told him exactly why. I know a lot of people will find that very controversial or maybe troublesome, because my sister has definitely said to me that, you know, some things I say might sound mean. I just think I'm direct. Like, I don't like bullshit answers. I ask people as well, like, you know, when I break up with people, I tell them why, and I tell them what I've done wrong. And I know a lot of people are not comfortable with that conversation, but I just prefer to know. I hate it so much, and maybe that's why I do something different. I hate it so much when I give you the generic, it's not me, it's you answer. I mean, it's not you, it's me answer, or just like, oh, I don't feel the chemistry. Oh no, just tell me, am I not cute enough? Did I smell? Was I not funny? Did I not look like my photos? Like, tell me exactly why. Because then if it's something that I can fix, definitely I'll work on it for the next person. But if it's something that's totally out of my control, or that's not my problem at all, then I'll know it's you and I don't have to worry. You know, so I hate that uncertainty of wondering, oh, what it is that someone didn't vibe with, and they're not telling you the truth. I really don't like when people are just being like completely vague and false with reasons why they're not going on a second date or why they stopped talking to you. So I don't like bullshit, you know, made up answers. I prefer to hear the truth, and that's why I tell people the truth. But yeah, so the guy said, you know, he had a nice time, he hopes that I did too, and he wanted to go on the second date. And I was like, I had a great time, not gonna lie, the date was fun, but it's a no from me. I was like, and I'll tell you why. I told him that I prefer when a man picks up the tab, especially on the first date. I told him the first date is a deal breaker for me if a man doesn't pay. I said every other date I can sort of compromise on if, you know, the vibe is right, depending on how much it costs. I told him that if we went on a dinner date and it was going into £100, I would choose to half it. Like, I'm not completely unreasonable, because I'm like, okay, I look at your, so that's why I consider so many things, your age, like what job you're doing. If you can afford it, not gonna lie, I'm gonna let you pay. But if I see we're both like the same age, if you're 24, I'm 24, you're on an entry-level job as well, I know what finances are like, I know what economy is like right now, I'm not going to let you to pick up a £100 bill. But if you're much older, if you're like 27, 28, you're in a senior position at work, you're doing well based on my impression of you or what you've told me, I'm sorry, I'm letting you take it. Like, especially if you don't ask me to half it, I am not gonna. Some girls, so that's the thing, all women are different. You can't compare one to another. But some girls, they don't like it. They don't like guys paying for them. They prefer to go 50-50, but I am not one of those girls, and I'll happily say it. If a man wants to pay for me on a date, I'll let him. I prefer if he offers to pay, as opposed to looking at me and saying, halves? Ooh. I just can't explain how it makes me feel. Like I said again, it's not just the money, it's just the act. It's just the feeling of, oh, I don't know, I can't explain the feeling. Maybe it's the Nigerian girl in me, because it's so ingrained in my culture, in Nigerian culture, for men to pay for things. So maybe it definitely has to do with it. Definitely is a cultural thing, and definitely patriarchy as well definitely has to do with it. So where was I? I've lost track. So I told this guy it's because he didn't pay, and I explained to him that I think it's a good gesture and it's a good impression when you pay on the first date, because it means that you appreciate my time, you set sort of a precedence for how the rest of the relationship will go. Are you a guy that sees everything 50-50 split in the middle? Because that's how I see it, especially the first date. If you don't pay on the first date, my impression of you is that you're a man that likes everything to be equal in the relationship. You're the one where we would go to a bar and you would buy your own drink and just like let me pay for mine. Like, we would walk up to a bar, you would buy your own drink and let me pay for mine. Like, oh, this is so icky. I'd rather, like, you buy the first drink. While we're sitting, I'm like, oh, I'll pick up the second, round. So I told him that, I'm like, it gives me the impression that you're a guy that likes everything split down in the middle, and that's not the kind of relationship I want to be in, because I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's reasonable for finances to be split down, because there are other things in a relationship that a woman will contribute more to, and that's on period. back to this dilemma. The guy said she Venmo'd him the charges for half, but then she didn't even factor in the dessert that he paid 100% for. What? Who is this girl? I never raised her. Or maybe she forgot. Again, let's just give her the benefit of a doubt. Maybe the number one maybe is she intended to pay for the date, but then she realized, actually this date didn't go well. I want my money back. I'm not gonna see him again. I want my money back. That's number one. Number two I can think of is she forgot that he paid 100% for the dessert. It's very possible that she forgot. But regardless, I think it's very icky. I think it's wrong. I think the guy is definitely 100% right to be shocked. He said he's shocked and offended. Yeah, you're supposed to feel offended. Like, this is very offensive. This is rude. This girl, she messed up big time. And if I were him, I wouldn't see her again. As much as I'm all for men paying for dates, and I appreciate when they do, I definitely will Venmo her the half and just never speak to her again, ever. So that's that about that. The second issue, or the second incident that happened recently on social media, and it was the Instagram post where the woman said that a boyfriend pays for everything because she's quote unquote an investment. She's an investment. She sees herself as an investment, right? So allegedly, a woman from London has revealed that a boyfriend pays for everything in their relationship after he described her. So he described her as an investment, right? So this girl is 27. This is very important. This girl's 27, and she said a boyfriend 22. She lets a boyfriend who is 22 pay 100% of their bills, rent, holidays. What? First of all, 22. How can he afford this? I'm sorry. I'm 24 and I can barely afford bills and holidays all in one. Like, how can he afford for two? I can barely afford for one. How can this guy afford rent, bills, holidays for two? He must be making some big investment banker money in London. I think that's what it is. I think that's what he does. Again, see, I mentioned earlier, these things are important. Your age, the job you do, stuff like that, where you are in your career. All of that is very important, because in first glance, you would scream and say, what the hell? Why is he paying for everything? But then on second thought, what if he can just afford it? What if he can afford to? What if he has the money? Like, if he's describing her as an investment, I'm getting a sense that he's some kind of finance guy, living the big life in a big city, London and stuff like that. So honestly, I was going to bash this girl. I was going to talk down on her. But now that I think about it, he described her as an investment. She didn't stand here and say, I'm an investment, I want my man to do everything for me. I think he wanted to do everything for her. I mean, good for them, good for her. I think she's lucky to find the man that wants to do this. I mean, as long as he still treats her respectfully in other ways, I think, yeah, I don't see anything wrong here. If he has the money, if he's happy to, then yeah, I would keep enjoying it if I were her. I would keep enjoying the life of my man paying for everything. And then she says that after so many failed dates, she wanted a man who could provide for her and take the lead. Okay, I mentioned earlier about the whole cultural thing about men paying, and even I think it's in the Bible as well. I'm not 100% sure, but there's this phrase of men are supposed to protect, provide, and I don't remember what the last one is. There's like 3 P's men are supposed to do for women in relationships, and one of them is protect and provide. I mean, 2 of them, protect and provide. So I think it's definitely ingrained in our culture where women feel like men have the responsibility of providing in a relationship. Not everyone subscribes to that. But will I? I don't want to say because she's older than him, she can't like allow him pay. Because I said earlier, if a man was older than me, I would be more comfortable with him paying. So I don't think that the fact that, no, if he's making more money, if he's happy to, if he can afford it, yeah, go for it. Go for it. But I said again, actually, not to go against my own word here, I remember saying earlier in this video that I wouldn't feel comfortable letting a guy pay for everything. I would try and contribute in some way, but I don't think I would opt out of being treated like this. I don't think I would say, don't pay my rent, don't pay for my holidays. I just think if he pays for the holidays, I will pay for something else that's like to do with the holidays. Maybe if he gets the tickets, I'll get the hotel. If he gets the hotel and tickets, hopefully I'll get all of the little souvenirs that we buy, you know, on holiday, or like, you know, go to the gift shops and buy things for him. I feel like when the discussion about who should pay for what and how much someone should pay for something in a relationship, or whether or not men should pay for everything in a relationship, I think what's important is that someone doesn't feel used. Most times the man, because most times the financial responsibilities usually fall on the man because of the society that we live in. So I think what's important is that the man doesn't feel like the girl is using him. I feel like that would cause the most friction in the relationship if the man doesn't feel like his woman is appreciative of his effort. If it feels like a chore, or it feels like he has to do it, or is expected of him with no sort of appreciation, I feel like that's where the problem is. The problem isn't men paying for shit. I feel like men have been paying for shit since the dawn of time. This is not new. I think what is problematic in the first dilemma, is the girl again not being appreciative of the guy's effort in the first 5 dates and still wanting to split the 6th date in half. That clearly shows expectations that are very unrealistic and unreasonable. And 2, with the second girl, if she was the one who considered herself an investment, then she would be in the wrong. But since he was the one who considered her an investment, I think that's fine. So it's very, very like situational. I don't think there's a one answer fits all sort of thing. Men have always been paying for stuff. I feel like the conversation of we should put on the first date as well, that's old news. That's not, you know, like a big discovery. It's not a grand discovery. It's very situational. It's so multifaceted. But personally, my personal take on why I think men should take on the bigger portion of financial responsibility in a relationship. And number one, I have 2 main reasons. Well, now it looks like 4. I have 2 main reasons. Number 1 is that it just costs so much more to be a woman, to be a beautiful woman in society. It costs so much more. And I actually have a list. I'm going to list so many things that exclusive to women, right, that men probably don't have to think about when they get their salaries. Right, number 1, makeup. I was gonna say hair first, but men do their hair, definitely costs way less. I mean, when I think of getting braids, that costs me at least £90 at least to get braids. How many men can say they spend £90 on getting a haircut? Not many. So makeup, men don't have to think about that. Last month I spent £70 buying makeup because I was running out of a couple of them. £70. Again, that's money that goes into a man's wallet, his bank account, his savings, his investment, or just to go out and eat and have fun. That's something else men don't have to factor into their budget. Makeup, waxing, shaving, hair removal, however you remove the hair on your body that, again, society expects women to do, whether we like it or not, whether you subscribe to shaving or not. In some way, waxing, shaving, hair removal, women do one of these three. And if you're waxing or even lasering, that's even more expensive. So again, men don't have to factor this into their budget. Feminine products, feminine care products, tampons, pads, or even in the US where women have to pay for, private like birth controls and stuff like that they don't have for free like we do in the UK. That costs money, right? Nails cost at least £25 to get your nails done at the salon, just saying. And usually that is done every month as well. So again, that's something else men don't factor into their budget. Facials, if you're someone that likes to get face massages or the face peels or just all of those face stuff you have to go into the place to do. Never been, so clearly that's why I'm saying place. Eyebrows, some people go to get their eyebrows like waxed or threaded or even tattooed. That costs money. I said lips here because I know some people have lip fillers, right? Again, that costs money. Clothes, everyone knows about the pink tax, right? That's on feminine care products and also like female products as well. Pink tax just means like there's more money on products that are classed as feminine that women wear. They cost more than men, right? So it costs us more to get dressed up and go and see you on that date, but still you don't want to pay. Okay. Accessories, women usually accessorize more. Bracelets, necklace. I mean, men wear bracelets too actually, but more women, again, earrings, nose rings, more women do than men. Necklaces, bracelets, all of that, anklets cost money. What else do I have here? Oh, okay, so that's it. In regards to beauty, fashion, self-care, it costs more to be a beautiful woman. It costs more to come on that date than it costs you as a man. It costs more for women to go on a date than it costs you as a man to like get ready for a date. If you're planning to wear a skirt, if it was in the summer, it's getting cold now so we can't really do that, but if it was in the summer and you're trying to go on a date, you probably think about shaving your legs, waxing your legs. Costs money. You probably think about getting your hair done. Costs money. The makeup that I'm buying costs money. I just feel like it just takes a lot more effort and a lot more finances, a lot more money to get ready to go on a date as a woman. Something else I actually want to point out. I know people are going to say, yeah, but men also have costs that women probably don't think about, and I should say that in this video. I should say that, but I'm not the man, so I don't know what men pay for that women don't pay for. Men, if you know, comment on my YouTube comments or at me on Instagram. But if you think this cost that men also need to think about that women don't need to think about, maybe you can tell me, but I don't know, so I should just say that there before you come for me. I think it's more expensive to be a woman, period. Okay, so if we're all dressed up to see you, it takes us more time as well. Time, let's even factor that in. Time is money. So it costs us more to buy beauty products, hair care, lifestyle products, all of that, self-care products, beauty, fashion, everything costs more as a woman. So like that's why it's not balanced. It's not equal to say, oh, men and women should pay equally for things in a relationship, because no, it's just more things are coming out of our salaries that you don't have to think about. You have more disposable income, period. And number two, safety. And again, I'm going to link this to my date that I went on recently, right? So after splitting this bill with a guy, we're about to go home now. It was late in the evening. When it's late past 11:30, I don't feel comfortable roaming the streets at night, right? I usually get an Uber, Bolt, taxi, whatever form of taxi is in your city. I prefer to get taxis than go on public transport. That's just me, right? I know some people are gonna be like, oh, but you can take public transport, you can get a tram, you can get a train, it's fine, it's safe, blah blah blah. In your place, maybe it's safe, but that's not the truth for everyone else. And personally, it's a personal preference, I acknowledge that, but it's also not my fault that I don't feel safe roaming the streets at night as a woman. That's mostly the fault of men. Facts. Most of the people we're scared of at night are men. So don't come for me when I say safety is another reason why men should pay for dates, because after I paid for half of this bill, I had to pay for my own Uber to get home. Right, so I've ended up spending more on this day than this guy did, because he walked home. He had the privilege as a man as a man he had the privilege as a man to walk home late at night. I couldn't, right? So now I've ended up, you called me from the comfort of, I'm on my bed now enjoying myself safely, free of charge, right? I got out of my own house to go and see you because you like me, right? You want to take me out, but I ended up paying more than half of the bill which is, for the taxi and for the drink. So that just rubbed me off the wrong way. I just didn't feel comfortable with that. And again, it's probably patriarchy, it's probably cultural. Like, why didn't I feel comfortable paying more than the guy did? I don't know, I just did. I'm just gonna be honest with that and say I just didn't like that feeling of, ugh, I spent more money than you did. I don't know why I feel that way. That's just how I feel, and I'm sure there's people that relate to me. So no, I don't feel like women should contribute equally to a relationship financially. I feel like men should contribute more for the reasons I just stated. And lastly, I think I said I was going to give 2 or 3, I don't know. Lastly, I think women contribute more in different ways. I think emotionally, women contribute more in relationships. Even from like the start, before it even develops into relationships, it's very like common for the woman to be the one that likes the guy more, and it's like, oh my god, when is he gonna ask me to be his girlfriend, when is he gonna, we always are more emotionally invested in relationships than men are. That costs us time, that costs us hours of our days thinking about you. In case you don't know, I'm gonna expose all the girls here. We go for drinks with our friends, we're always chatting about the guys we're talking to, what's going right or what's going wrong in relationships. I don't think men are that emotionally, maybe they just don't speak up about it, but it costs us more emotional energy to be with you men, in case you don't know. I feel like it's in our head more as women. When something is like going on in our like romantic lives, it's harder for us to separate that from our day-to-day lives, and so it's in our head more, we're worrying about things more, so we're emotionally more invested than you usually. Do you get what I mean? So you're contributing more, you're making more of a financial investment, we're making more of an emotional investment. And even things like nurturing, women are not naturally more nurturing. I mean, we actually have this big task of carrying a baby for 9 months and pushing it out and still taking care of it, breastfeeding it. We're just usually the primary caregivers of babies, because men can't breastfeed, men usually can't give birth. I don't know about like trans men, I don't know if they can, but things like that. So women contribute more in other ways. I think people always forget that when they're always like, oh, equality, oh, women these days, oh, they don't want to clean and cook and tidy up the house and tidy up the house and take care of this and this and that, but they want men to keep paying. Yeah, because we still contribute in other ways. You can't carry a baby, you can't. We have to do that, okay? So don't come for me. There's other ways that women contribute that men don't do as much, and you can't really blame them. I saw a TikTok recently of a woman just like she was like heavily pregnant, and she was just there like struggling to even just like breathe. She was just like in so much like pain, this baby's like about to pop or whatever, and she just took a video of a man like playing a video game on his phone. And I know that's just very situational, but she's in this like enormous pain, because she's about to pop a baby, and it's just there like on this phone playing games, so this is now where the women are contributing so much more, with their bodies, their mental like well-being and everything. It's just not equal. Like men and women, again, not equal. You can't compare us. We have different contributions to relationships, and it just happens that finances is something that men usually are required to contribute more to. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now. I'm talking a bit too much. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you can relate. I hope you agree, or if you don't, let me know. I've said what I wanted to say, and I said what I said, and I would stand by it, right? So women, allow your men to keep paying if they want to, but if you find that it's getting too uneven, I guess, just make a contribution. I think at the end of the day, they just want to see that it's a it's a fair relationship, and you're also making a fair contribution, and no one's being taken advantage of. So I rest my case. Bye guys, see you next week. Hopefully I record a podcast next week. In the meantime, you can subscribe on YouTube. My YouTube is her-Dalton, so HER-DULTING. My Instagram is at I Saw Him First Podcast. My Twitter is at I Saw Him First Pod. And you can also send me emails if you want to send me dilemmas. Send your email to I Saw Him First Podcast at gmail.com. TikTok. Lastly, I'm on TikTok. My TikTok is at I Saw Him First Pod, I think. Anyway, you find all of that in the show note description somewhere. Thank you guys for listening. Bye. Ciao kayo.